Guys, this episode is about Juneteenth. Sorry it's a little late, but it's Juneteenth.
Which was late.
It's just what it is. You are going to hear a wild episode. It is laugh out loud funny. We get into some pretty wild conspiracy theories, and you're going to find out who else had slaves. Surprise, surprise. Wasn't only the whites. Come see us July 2nd. We have a live show at the Live History Hyenas show at the Comedy Cellar. It's almost sold out. July 2nd, New York City. Be a part of it, baby.
Yes, and for our dates, historyhyenasisback.com, and we list off the cities at the end of this episode. Enjoy this wild one, and happy, I guess, Pride Month and Juneteenth. Everybody, welcome to the History Hyenas new episode where today we're just going to be two white guys talking about Juneteenth. Now, today I came in right on time, but I shouldn't have. I should have been a little late to celebrate Juneteenth.
Yes, that's what I thought. And I'm thinking normally these episodes come out at 11 a.m. Eastern time on Thursdays, but we've asked Jesse to put it out at 11:45.
Now, take that as you will. Either that was a joke about black people being late, or it was a joke about Juneteenth, which actually happened 2.5 years after the Emancipation Proclamation.
That's what I was going to say is if before you hit your racist buttons, just know that was a joke about being late. Juneteenth has nothing to do with blacks, has everything to do with they were late to the game of freeing the slaves.
If you want to interpret it that way.
Yes.
If you want to interpret it another way, we welcome all.
Yes.
We welcome all.
We welcome all. We want everyone to live and survive and thrive. We're not Israel.
We want racists and non-racists living side by side. We want unity. We want people who are for America first, and we want people who don't want Iran to enrich uranium.
It's just
we want them all to live to shop at the same deli.
It's shop at the same deli, and it is a beautiful thing. I had the pleasure of going to New Mexico this weekend. I went down to Santa Fe, New Mexico, the state capital. I got a picture in front of it. That is the 31st capital I've got a picture in front of because I do have low-grade autism. So but what was really nice was it was that No Kings Day, where like that No Kings protest. So it was nice to see a protest in front of New Mexico because I did get a chance to see the trans people of New Mexico thriving. So yeah, I saw a few trans. It's a wild thing to see a trans Native American guy. And I was like, what? Cuz I don't know what was happening, but I did see my first trans Native American, and it was wild.
Yeah, well, there's something that a trans Native American woman and a regular Native American woman share in common, and that's if you take them on a date, don't get them alcohol because they just don't have the enzymes to be able to deal with it.
It's just what
so
it is.
They are the same in some way.
They are the same, and to be a trans Native American, what they do is they don't fully cut their penises off, they just scalp them.
Ladder 14.
Well,
just what it is.
You see that one coming.
Yeah.
Well, just like Iran didn't see the bombs coming while they were going through negotiations with the United States, and Iran decided to fucking just get bombed.
Yeah, it's just what it is.
Israel decided to just go in there.
Just go in there. Israel just did what we call a little sneak attack.
Yeah. Now, I don't want to know anything about it. Everything is fine. I just watched the WNBA this weekend.
Yes.
And listen, I just watched those types of bombs because Caitlin Clark was dropping bombs. And the only thing that could stop it is if the Liberty had an Iron Dome, which doesn't seem to be working too good on Tel Aviv. We're trying not to talk about Iran. We're trying to celebrate Juneteenth.
Yes.
But it's hard when you got World War III and fucking gay pride taking the headlines. Can't we just celebrate what these people had to fucking go through? Or no, do we got to put the gays and the fucking Jews in the front of the line?
That's what it is.
These people went through hell.
They did go through hell. Now we are here to escape. reality. That's why you come to this podcast. We are an escapist podcast. We will sometimes touch on current events, but we like to talk about history. We're escapist podcast, and the people have asked why, if Yannis loves the WNBA so much, why hasn't he been invited to any games? Because the problem is with Yannis at a WNBA game is he will run on the court and start licking their feet. So that's the problem. Is why we can't have him in the building. He just watches from afar. He's actually been escorted out of multiple Liberty games because he's just trying to sniff their shoes.
The problem is I put my resume in to be a locker room attendant for the Liberty, but they did a little research into me and they knew I'm just trying to get in the shoes.
Yeah, trying to get shoes. And you know what's interesting with you with your glasses?
Yeah.
With your glasses, you are what we call an oxymoron because you literally look like an Iranian and an Israeli at the same time. And nobody knows if what side you're on because you're a Netanyahu. You're an Israeli Iranian. That's what it is.
That's what I am. Now, when you went to New Mexico, you were on a plane. Did you feel proud of yourself by how tight you pulled that seatbelt? Because right now, you're the size of a lady. You're skinny. You look like you're dropping weight for a UFC fight. You look like you're dehydrated to make weight.
Yeah, it's what it is because I'm dropping weight for an arm wrestling fight. I'm dropping weight for slap fights. Now, because here's the thing.
You're skinny.
My cholesterol was 300 like a Spartan.
Yeah.
I mean, the cholesterol got too high. So what I had to do is make little adjustments. To make little adjustments, like Jesse today bought the room egg and cheese sandwiches. And I said, what I'm going to have to do is just look at that and sniff it. And then I'm going to have to, instead, I can't eat that. I'm going to have to eat one of these puppies, which I don't travel anywhere without these now. No cow bars.
Yes.
These are cholesterol-friendly protein bars that I just eat all the time, and I am constipated because I'm taking too many supplements.
Because do you know what I see when I look at you right now?
Tell me.
I see somebody who's wobbling.
Yeah.
I see a wobble.
Yes.
Yeah, I know you got one ankle on the beam.
Yes.
Because your foot is slipping, so it's an ankle that's actually on the beam.
Yes.
But guess what, baby? I'm the strings that's going to pull you right back on that beam. You're a tightrope walker, and I'm here to save you. I'm the net.
You're the net because you are Yanni Nets. You're Yanni the Mat because it is very interesting. I've never done a history in this podcast where I know that you see me as sitting physically here in front of your camera, but really I am falling off the beam. I am currently on, but I am like this, wobbling off. I'm Chrissy Wobbles because make absolutely no mistake, we got a court date coming up.
Because the legal system, they just know your name by now. Do you walk in like Norm and they go, Chris, you're in courtroom 2 today?
They'll say, Chrissy, what's going on, bud?
Or do they say you got 3 today, like you have sets?
Yeah.
You have 3.
Yeah, that's what I'll do is I'll look at my schedule. Yeah. I'll say today
You got an 8:15, a 9:50, and a 12.
Yeah, we're going Brooklyn, Queens, Staten Island. That's what it is. We got to get in different places. But you asked me what I have for breakfast, cuz, and I'm going to tell you what I've been doing.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you what I've been doing, what's been changing my life. Now, I haven't gotten my cholesterol checked in 2 months, so I don't know, but I can almost tell you from a spiritual place my cholesterol is down. Right. I know my numbers are going down.
Right.
Here's what I've done. I used to have a bacon, egg, and cheese or some type of egg and cheese every morning for breakfast. But now what we've done is as you've said many times in this podcast, it always comes back to the Greeks.
Right.
Faji yogurt. Yogurt has 0% Faji yogurt, 0 grams of cholesterol, 0 grams of saturated fat, 19 grams of protein.
That's because it's made of guys' cum.
That's what it is.
It's all protein.
I believe that it is because saturated fat is the real thing. Dietary cholesterol has been proven time and time again that it's not that's not really the problem with cholesterol. It's saturated fat, that's the cheese, the oils. So what I do now is this. I do a little yogurt, okay? I do yogurt. I do berries, okay? I do a scoop of vegan protein, Athlean X, vegan protein. I love the guy, Athlean X. Shout out Jeff Cavalieri. Kid's absolutely jacked, and he looks like Native American. If you ever see Athlean X, I mean, this guy just looks like Geronimo on steroids.
Yeah.
He's jacked up, but he's not on steroids. It's natural.
Your kids.
Yeah.
Your kids look Native American, too.
Yeah, my kids do look like Native Americans. Yeah. So what it is, so I do that. I do the scoop of that. Then I do Blueprint. You ever heard of Blueprint? I think it's Robert Johnson, the guy who's like the longevity guy. He's trying to live forever. Yeah. I take his. He's got a cocoa powder because it's got, I think it's, what is it called? Polyphenols. So whatever the thing in red wine is that helps with your heart.
Grapes?
Grapes. Yeah. I love grapes, but I don't put grapes in there. But then I put a little cinnamon in, and I mix it all up, a little touch of honey, and I have a nice big bowl of yogurt. And I work out because I work out hard. Today I work out so here's how I know I'm getting good workouts in. My nipples are itchy.
Yeah.
When I work out real hard, I get itchy nipples. I got to rub Vaseline all over my nipples every morning.
Yeah.
But I'm getting too skinny.
I've said it many times. You're an enigma wrapped in an oxymoron.
Yeah, it's just what it is. It's just what it is.
It's an oldie but goodie. If you were here for the first round, I think I called you that before.
Yeah. It's what it is, cuz.
You're a Russian doll of goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you look good. You look healthy. We know your cholesterol's down, and that was your Beamcast loophole special right there, because you gave the people a little breakfast that can keep them on the beam, and it's a loophole because it gives you your sweet tooth.
It gives you my sweet tooth, and it is a loophole. We found a loophole. You're right. We're on the Beamcast. And also, one thing I want to say, what I want you to go out today and do is what I want you to do a little exercise to stay on the beam is I want you to treat every single person you meet, whether it be family, friends, or strangers, I want you to treat them as if they're going to die at midnight, and you'll watch how much your life changes. Treat every single person you meet as if they're going to die at midnight, and you give them your time, you give them your energy, and you give them your power of love and your positive responses as if they're going to die at midnight, and you tell me if your life doesn't improve, baby gorgeous.
It will.
Yeah.
And I will add an addendum to that. My little Beamcast of the day is that to be free, you must have faith.
Yeah.
Faith is an important part of freedom.
Yes.
So when we talk about Juneteenth and we talk about what kept this community of Americans going, it was faith.
Yeah.
For centuries, they were enslaved. And then after they were enslaved, they were redlined. They were segregated. They were terrorized by white dudes in bath sheets.
It's what it is.
It's what happened.
It's what happened.
They were raped.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the DNA says that there was a lot of grape juice.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm saying there was a lot of grape juice happening.
It's just what it is. And I like that you use that word faith, not hope. A lot of people use hope all day. Hope is for people who don't work hard. Yeah. Hope is for people who aren't really serious about getting to next level. Faith is where it has to live. You have to bring Jesus Christ into your hearts, and that he comes to your hearts through faith, not hope. Hope is from the devil. Faith is from Jesus.
I like that. Yeah. I like it.
Yeah, but that's why if I have another daughter, I'm going to name her Faith because she'll be half Puerto Rican, so that's what their names are.
So that's just what it is. We went and had barbecue food on Father's Day, and again, a nice little African-American girl befriended my girl because we're at a barbecue restaurant, so there was a bunch of African-American families, and her name was Alaska.
Yeah.
And her sister's name was Lyric.
And that's just what it is.
It's just what it is. They just pick great names. Her name was Alaska.
Alaska is a great name, and it's an ironic name to name your black child Alaska because there's none of them there.
That's exactly right. They're just not in that location.
There's just not black people in Alaska because black people, it's what it is.
You want to name them Atlanta.
Atlanta, yes. Yeah. And the thing is with black people, and it's just a beautiful thing, and it's a cultural thing, is they just don't like being in the cold.
They don't.
And white people like being in the cold, and I don't like being in the heat. Black people like being in the heat. We're all alike and different.
We all make up different pieces of the pie.
Because that's the thing is, remember, we are all bees in the same hive. You cannot hurt someone else without first hurting yourself.
Yes.
So we're all bees in the hive. Some of the bees are black, some of the bees are white, and some of the bees are yellow. And the bees that are yellow are just they're just kind of watching the black.
They make all the honey and they do it cheap.
They do it cheap, and the yellow bees are kind of just,
There's
watching.
a billion of them.
Yeah, the yellow bees are just
a lot of yellow bees.
What it is?
Yeah.
I didn't want.
And there's a lot of brown bees, and there's a billion of those.
Yes, and there's a lot of brown bees, and some bees were one type of bee at birth, and then they transitioned through another type of bee, and they just have a different kind of honeycomb now.
They just got a different honeycomb, and then there's another type of bee that has little frisbees on their head, and there's not a lot of them, but they got nukes.
Yeah, that's just what it is. Then you have the frisbee bees.
Yeah, they just got hats on. Then you got bees with hats on. But we say today we are going to talk about Juneteenth right in the middle of Pride Month. We don't want to stop your Yas Festival.
No.
But the blacks get one day on June 19th that they celebrate. This became a holiday in 2021 when Joe Biden said, yes, we're going to do that. We're going to finally recognize this celebration that had been happening underground in black communities, especially in Houston, for a long time.
A long time now. Juneteenth was established as a holiday, June 19th, 2021, first federal holiday, and 40 years up until that time. And I think it's a beautiful thing. Some people say that it was only put as a holiday during that time because of the civil unrest that was happening. You know, George Floyd riots had happened some time before that. We were still in the throes of COVID. And they said that's why they made it a holiday. And some people say that's conspiracy. And I don't think that's a conspiracy. I think sometimes things just happen. You know, things happen. Cause and effect will happen. And now I'm happy that this holiday is here. I'm happy that June 19th exists. It's a federal holiday. Kids get off from school. We can party a little bit. Banks close. It's a real nice thing.
Yeah, it's a federal holiday. I just want to know, how do whites celebrate it? How do we get in on the fun? Do we bang a drum? What do we do?
Well, what I do...
Do I put cuts in my eyebrows?
What I like to do is, because June 19th, we are going to get into the history of this, but a quick brief history of it is basically in June 19th, 1865, the kind of slavery had, the Civil War had ended. Of course, slavery abolished, thankfully. And the people in Galveston, Texas were supposedly the last group of slaves to hear about them being free. And Union soldiers came in and told the people in Galveston, Texas, the slaves, like, hey, you are free. And then they were emancipated. So what I like to do is on June 19th, being a white person, is I like to go and tell the black people in my community that today is June 19th.
Lat 14.
Is I just go around spreading the good news.
Right, yeah.
I spread the good news to my black brothers and sisters, say, hey, today's June 19th.
Yeah.
So you can go do whatever you want.
So
that's our role as whites, because that's what our roles as whites were back then.
Yes. So we're talking about a particular general named General Granger, not to be confused with the former Indiana Pacer, Donald Granger.
Donald Granger. This is General Gordon, Union General Gordon Granger.
Yeah, and he showed up, with 2,000 troops or 6,000, I don't know, but a lot of them were African American troops.
Yeah, because we're revisiting a lot of things. We're revisiting a lot of things in history now as life evolves. So we're not sure if it's 2,000 or 6,000. We're not sure if it's 6 million.
Lat 14.
Yeah,
just jokey wokey.
Yo, what happens is
We're just kidding around.
when you spend a lot of time waiting for fires.
Yeah.
You got a lot of time to talk.
Yeah.
And let me tell you about this guy named Schmidy.
Yeah.
This guy can talk.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, he could have been Rush Limbaugh.
Yeah.
I mean, this guy can fucking shoot him off.
Yeah.
So we're in there, and the other night, me and Patty are sitting there,
Yeah.
and Schmidy goes, they throw around this 6 million fucking number.
Yeah.
But he goes, I don't know if you do it mathematically.
Yeah.
He goes, if you take a look at the mathematics, I'm an expert in fire.
Yeah.
He says, I'm an expert in fire.
Yeah.
You can't burn that many. Flammable.
Yeah.
Okay?
Right.
They're not as oily as the Greeks or the Sandys.
Right. Lat 14.
Yeah, he said to us, I was there in the firehouse. I was making chicken carbonara at the time. And I was there in the firehouse, and I said, and I was watching Meals by Kush, because he was doing a nice video over there. He was
I fucking love that guy.
Meals by Kush.
And I love the other guy.
Little moments.
I fucking love that guy.
Yeah, I was watching the video, and Meals by Kush, he was over there, had his hair down nice, and he was talking about his sister's ass and all that. And Little Mo, and he was making a nice chicken carbonara. And Little Mo Mozzarella was just beating people with semolina breads. And I said, we're having a good time here, and thankfully there's no fires. And I said, what he said, if there's 6 million Jews, if they burn them all, as Schmidy said, he's experts in fires.
Yeah.
Wouldn't there be any type of smoke residue? Wouldn't we see? Wouldn't that change holes in the ozone layers?
That would have changed.
So tell me what the real number is.
How did it happen then?
Right.
That's all his point was. How did it happen?
Yeah.
So he did his mathematics, and he says he doesn't think it's 6 million. That's all.
That's all, because he said, he's been reading history books, and there's always a different number.
Yeah.
He said
By
every day.
reading history books, he means he's been watching Candace.
Yeah, he's been
he
watching
loves
Candace
that fucking
and
show.
So he's been reading. Been reading a reinterpretation of the history with Charlie Kirk and Candace and all those guys. And he said that if there's always a different number.
Yeah.
Every time I look, there's a different number. It's like, what's the real number?
Yeah.
Like every time I'll go to 5 contractors, and they'll always give me a different number.
Right.
So he said,
It's like you're dealing with a Greek fucking painter.
yeah, he said, so what the fuck is the actual number? Just like then he bridged all that together, and he said, and what fucking this kid Larry Finkelstein, what's his name? Larry Silverfinkel? What's the kid? Larry Finkelstein, who's the president or whatever. How did this guy all of a sudden take out a policy, an insurance policy, the day before 9/11, all of a sudden he took an insurance policy out of the World Trade Center. How did he know?
Yeah, the guy Schmidy's just got a lot of questions. That's just what happens in the firehouse, and so you take it up with Schmidy.
That's all it is, and that's what he said. So it's just, well, yeah, this is line of 14.
He's got a lot of questions. He said there's not an iota that can be done about it.
Yeah.
There's just some things that don't add up.
They don't add up, and he did tell us that Epstein is in the Mossad, which is the Israeli CIA.
And that's what he said.
And he said he's got the president and everybody, the high-ranking American politicians, got them all in their pocket, and that we're really just a puppet state for Israel. That's what he said.
That's all he said. He said, listen, they don't register as a PAC, and that they donate the most money to the candidates to get them elected. So everyone's for fucking sale in America, and there's nothing an iota can be done about it.
Just can't do it. And he said that maybe Iran this really isn't our war.
Yeah, he said maybe America first, and this is the last chance he's giving to Trump. Otherwise, he's fucking throwing him in with the cucks.
Yeah, it's just
Line 14.
what it is.
That's just what Schmidy said.
That's what Schmidy said. So yeah. By the way, another thing that I do now, it's just a part of me, is I make sure every 20 minutes I get up and I do 10 squats just to keep the synovial fluid going in my knees.
Okay, you do that.
You just keep going,
and I'll keep going.
I'm here.
Okay,
go ahead.
I'm
still
just
on the pod.
Get the smaller break still
Synovial
going.
fluid down. Go ahead. Yeah, I just got to get it down.
So, Juneteenth was secretly celebrated in communities, especially in Texas, where it was not appreciated all too much.
Right.
The celebrations were not all appreciated too much. But I just want to fast forward to how it became a holiday because it's very fascinating.
Tell me.
We're talking about a 89, I believe, year-old woman.
Okay.
Okay, she decided. Now her family.
What was her name?
Her name was something.
Can we find her name?
I'm sure it was like Tashika.
Here, it's right here.
Yeah,
I just
Tamika.
Here, keep
Tanisha?
scrolling.
Lyric, Alaska.
Yeah. Go
What's
to
her
Yanni's
name?
notes.
Odal?
Go up. Was it
We want to give.
was
you-
it Harriet Smith?
It was Harriet Tubman.
No.
it wasn't that. No.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah. Her name. Here she
no,
goes. She was 89 years old.
Just Google the 89-year-old woman who
Yeah.
significant with Juneteenth.
So what she decided to do, now her family, they moved into a white neighborhood or whatever. It was burned down.
Okay.
And they decided to not get vengeance, but to move.
Okay.
Now, what she learned from that was she's going to battle.
Her name was Opal Lee. She's the grandmother of Juneteenth.
Yeah, Opal Lee, considered the grandmother of Juneteenth. Now, she says when her family's house got burnt down by white supremacists, her family, her parents told her that we are not going to fight with vengeance. We're going to fight with endurance. We're going
Like
to
that.
perseverance.
I like that.
So they moved and they kept going. So she wanted to send a message of perseverance, of endurance. So what she decided to do at 89 years old is set out to walk across the country to Washington, D.C., and she did 2.5 miles every day to represent the 2.5 years that had passed between the Emancipation Proclamation and Juneteenth.
Yeah, I respect that.
Yeah, so and she walked all the way to DC, and later she was donned the grandmother Juneteenth by President Biden, who codified Juneteenth as an American holiday, and she was ecstatic when this happened.
Yes.
And she was ecstatic, and she says Juneteenth is a celebration of freedom for all people because we all won.
And now congratulations to Opal Lee, 2.5 miles every day for however many days that took to walk all the way to Washington, D.C. She did not hit her 10,000 steps that way, though. You just to get to 10,000 steps, you're going to have to hit 4 to 5 miles.
If we're going to have a critique.
Yeah, that's
it's like
only
you're going to
critique.
want to do a little more than 2.5 to get to 10,000 steps. Also, this was a perfect missed opportunity for a great shoe advertisement. Like, what were you wearing, Opal?
Yes.
Like, this is
Girl.
the 2.5 march to make Juneteenth a holiday, brought to you by New Balance.
Yes.
What was on your feet, girl? I want to know what kind of orthotic. Was she wearing orthotics?
Newbies.
What was it? Was it Ons? Was it New Balance?
Yes.
Or was it Air Max?
Now-
she was black, so I can only assume it was Jordans.
It's what it is.
Line 14.
So I think, though, that this is a story like Opal Lee. Why is she not more well known? Like, why is she not on
because of gays.
That's what it is.
They just have the whole fucking month.
I love gay people. I really do. But Opal Lee should be, I mean, what she did, this lady did in 2016 in our lifetime. She walked 2.5 miles a day from Fort Worth, Texas to Washington, D.C. to raise awareness for this beautiful holiday, Juneteenth, and nobody really knows about her.
Yeah,
so why is she not a synonymous name? Like, why do we know other names and not hers?
Because of the trans struggle. I'm just going to be honest. Why did
sip my coffee silently?
Why did the Democrats think it was a good idea for the past 4 years to tell white people that were struggling and poor that on top of that it was evil that they were white, just being white, and then they told black people, you know what, your struggle's bad, but guess what? We really got to take care of these gays.
Yeah,
I mean, it just didn't work as a what is the word I'm looking for? Strategy. It just didn't work as a strategy.
Yeah, it's one of those things.
We should be celebrating Opal
Lee. I want to have Opal Lee month, or at least an Opal Lee night. I want to have an Opal Lee night at Citi Field with the Mets. Yes. I want to get my Pride Night shirt, but I also want to get my Opal Lee shirt.
Yes.
I want to get my Opal Lee shirt that's sponsored most likely by Waffle House.
Yes.
I want to just get it, but I like that, you know?
Yes.
It's sponsored by Waffle House, and it's a nice shirt.
Yeah.
And it's just one of those things we can only buy it on the Cash App, and it's just support.
it's
just supportive.
Yeah, it's just supportive.
I like Opal Lee, and I like this story, and I like finding out these stories, but I do feel like, you know, why does it take me to be sitting here as a part of a history podcast where we choose to do this research, and then we find these beautiful stories? Why doesn't my daughters know this? I mean, I'm going to teach my daughters about Opal Lee, but why doesn't everybody learn about Opal Lee?
Yeah, I'm saying I love the gays. I really do. We love all people, but I just think a month is a lot. It would be nice if it was just a Pride Day with a couple parades, one early show where you could bring the kids to, you know, where it's just the guy who plays Doogie Howser holding the Heineken, waving, Tim Dillon on a float, something a little more conservative for the children, maybe Anderson Cooper in a Patagonia, something nice before you fucking pull out the furries and the assholes at midnight.
Yeah.
I mean, who's running the PR? Don't you want to, you know, get the people who disagree with you to be like, they're not that much of a threat, but you're out there in a fucking dog collar getting walked around by another guy whose ass is out, and you think that you're going to win over America. And then you take a month.
Yeah.
I mean, you give them an inch and they take it a mile, when really it should be, hey, these blacks, give them some more, dude. Yes. When you find out more about their struggle, you're going like, you could hide being gay. You can do it. You can't hide being black. I mean, these people, they got freedom, and then that's just when the nightmare began.
It's just what it is.
Then a bunch of white guys put on bath sheets and started chasing them around.
Yeah, and what Yanni's basically saying in a nutshell, it's the gays' fault Tehran's getting nuked.
We'll
be right back after this break.
We'll be right back. This break brought to you by some sponsor we don't care about.
Yeah.
Because let me tell you something right now. I've been using Acorns for many years, and now Acorns Early is very great, dude, because it helps you teach your kids about investing and money, and it gives them a little something of their own.
My older kids are 14 and 10, and I've always wanted to teach them about investing because we never really learned it in school. I never learned it until I became an adult, and Acorns Early, I have them both on it, is the perfect place to do it. It's a smart money app and debit card for kids that helps them learn the value of money. We've been using it with the kids, and I can see that they're still spending a lot of my money, but they understand it's hurting daddy. Yeah.
Acorns Early Chores Tracker helps kids learn the value of the dollar. Acorns lets parents pay allowances automatically. This is a no-brainer if you have kids. It really is.
Kids can spend what they earn with their very own debit card, so they understand the value of money. Like, it's easy when some, grandma gives them a $20 bill for Christmas, they don't know. But when they say Acorn Debit, when I put that 20 onto their account and then they go to buy something at Five Below and they can't buy it, well, this is why you got to learn the value of money. What you spend is coming out of your account.
Yeah, and it has parental controls that deliver a little peace of mind for you. You get real-time notifications when your kids spend. Set your kids' spending limits and instantly block lost or stolen cards. It helps your kids turn savings into a habit. Kids use their app to set savings goals. They can even choose their own target dates and turn the optional autosave feature to help them get there.
It's what it is, because the whole family were saving up for some iodine because you never know if we're getting nuked. So head to acornsearly.com/hyenas or download the Acorns Early app to help your kids grow their money skills today. That's acornsearly.com/HYENAS. Acorns Early card is issued by Community Federal Savings Bank, member FDIC, pursuant to license by MasterCard International. T&Cs apply. Monthly subscription fee starting from $5 per month unless canceled.
Yo!
Yeah, cuz you
They rock hard.
Yeah, Blue Chew, baby. This episode's sponsored by Blue Chew. I love that you guys are sending me those rock hard Blue Chew cocks. I love to open up my DMs and just see it. And like I've said, every time we do this ad, I know the ones that are Blue Chew because they're bigger and veinier and they got the American flag on them because those tablets are made right here in the USA.
When you bang with that, you could just chant USA, USA the whole time.
Absolutely, cuz Blue Chew tablets are awesome. It is all done online. No visits to the pharmacy. No visits to the doctor's office. No waiting in line at the pharmacy. No awkward conversations. You literally just go you set it up on Zoom with the doctor, tell them the problems, and then boom, you get Blue Chew sent discreetly right to your door. You just consult with one of the licensed medical providers and you get approved. You get the prescription within days.
Yeah, make life easier by getting harder and discover your options at BlueChew.com. And we've got a special deal for our listeners. Try your first month of Blue Chew absolutely free when you use the promo code Hyenas. Just pay $5 shipping. That's promo code Hyenas. Visit BlueChew.com for more details and important safety information. And we thank Blue Chew, as always, for sponsoring the History Hyenas. What you really got to think about is imagine being they didn't have Wi-Fi back then. They had no way of knowing. Mm-hmm. So you got to imagine that the emancipation process lasted a long time. And there, of course, these slave owners, they wanted to get one more cotton season. They were trying to squeeze one more freebie out.
Yep.
They were trying to squeeze one more freebie.
Yep.
So they didn't tell the slaves, and it was a very complicated. It was like when you take a shit, sometimes you think you're gonna get that clean shit where you don't gotta wipe. That's not how slavery ended. It was many wipes.
Yes.
That had to get rid of that.
They did not have and their asses were not clean.
No.
They could not get to 100% clean ass for years.
Yes, it took a long time, and then it was complicated in different places. Some slaves, what were they going to do? Just leave the plantation and start with nothing?
Right.
A lot of slave owners tricked them and said, hey, okay, we'll pay you a wage, and then they never paid them. A lot of slaves were scared to leave because they didn't know what to do, so they just stayed there.
Yeah.
It was a whole mess, and then you had people terrorizing them, and then when they celebrated Juneteenth, they were shot.
Yes.
There was 800 lynchings, I think.
After Juneteenth.
In 1866.
Which is the year after.
Yes.
The Civil War ended.
Which is more I think it was just in Texas.
Yeah.
If I have that correctly. I don't know. We may look it up. But that means it's more than 2 lynchings a fucking day.
And here's the thing, folks, is it wasn't only the whites. White people, I will agree.
Primary offender.
Yes,
for sure.
Primary offender. Whites were not good were not great. Yeah. Whites were not good. But also slavery, the last first world country to end it was Brazil in the 1880s. So really, if you really want to blame, and then I'm going to get into my point in a second, but if you really want to blame slavery on anybody, you know who the real culprit is? The Spanish from Spain. The Spanish from Spain
who are white.
Are the ones who brought over African slaves from Africa to these countries, to Europe, and then through here. They were the ones who started. So I like when it's convenient when Spanish people from Spain are Spanish when they want to be Spanish, and then white when they want to be white.
Right.
So they're like, oh no, we're Spanish people. We're on the good side. Fuck the white.
Yeah.
No, you brought slaves here, you pieces of shitty.
Yeah. You
pieces of caca.
Muerta. What do they call it?
Muerta.
Caca.
Basura.
Yeah.
So,
Pendejo.
So now we're rewriting history, and the Spanish are bad.
Yeah.
So, but here's another group of people that were bad. Because again, here's the fun little tidbits, the little kind of pieces of history, the things that history is written in a way that people want to write it. So they will just tell you and every kid that it's all whites and white people are bad. And again, there is a lot of truth to that, but also
mostly truth.
The Chickasaw Nation.
Whoa.
The Chickasaw Nation, Native Americans who were mostly in the Oklahoma Territory at the time, they enslaved Africans from the late 1700s all the way through the Civil War and a couple years even beyond that. So Native Americans, I know, smallpox, and we killed the Native Americans. That's true. But also, they could be pieces of shit, too.
Yes.
Okay? Because people will be people.
People are people.
So they modeled their economy, the Chickasaw Nation modeled their economy directly after the American South. They said, we will have slaves do the agriculture. That's what we're going to do. Plantation-style slavery, they just did it with bows and arrows and the feathers on their heads.
Right.
But it's the same type of white, evil slave owner that you hate. The Chickasaw Nation was that same exact guy, just a little tanner. And they fought for the Confederacy during the Civil War. And the Chickasaw Nation, they formed this ally with the Confederacy because they wanted to protect slavery, their own interests. And then after, they were the only Native nation to never sign the treaty that abolished slavery. They would not abolish it. And then after June 19th, 1865, Juneteenth, the Chickasaw refused to grant freedom or any type of tribal citizenship to the formerly enslaved people. And they would not do it. It wasn't until 1866 when the U.S. government said, listen, you don't start freeing the slaves, then you guys can't sell cigarettes. And they said, all right, we're going to end slavery now because we want to sell these white motherfuckers cigarettes and Arizona iced tea.
Yes.
We want to sell them big. So they refused, but they refused to recognize the freedman as a tribal citizen. So this is to Yanni's point that just because they said, boom, you're free, these African-American people had a lot of danger all around them.
Oh my God.
I actually saw a video that this was from an interview from a man who was a slave. This was in the 1920s, so he was a slave, in the 1860s. But this was, or maybe even before 1920s, if the audio was kind of wonky. But he said, when I was in the South, I actually wasn't treated as poorly by Southern people as I was Northern people. Northern people called me the N-word. Northern people told me they were going to hang me. They wanted to light me on fire. The Southern people treated me like property, and the Southern people said, we don't want to hurt our own property. So that's not great. Yeah. I know just that,
talk about being stuck between a rock and a hard place.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Just that, that they were property is obviously one in itself. You've taken away their freedom as human beings. So that is the worst thing. But I'm just talking about very specifically their day-to-day. This man was saying, if you listen to the rules, you wouldn't get hurt by the Southern people because they were like, why would we hurt you? We've paid for you. Where the Northern people were like, I don't like you because you're black. And they would want to hurt you no matter what.
Right.
Some people.
So they were basically saying like some of those whites treated them like we treat our iPhones now. We took care of them.
Yeah.
We love them.
We love them.
We freaked out if they were missing.
Yes. Yeah, it's just what it is. And also speaking of iPhones, just real quick, let me just go off on a little tangent. A lot of you people out there who go to all these protests and want to cause traffic in the Santa Fe, New Mexico area and make me almost late for my show. A lot of these things that people do, you have this selective outrage. You have this ability about you that cares about some things and doesn't care about other. You're complicit in some things. So you're okay with the iPhone slave labor, that your iPhone, which you love and cherish, is made by slaves in Asian countries and Saudi Arabian countries, but you'll okay that. You'll say, no, this is fine, but then you'll go protest some other things that you don't think benefit you in the way it should. So it's just a little interesting to me how certain people, you just pick and choose what you're mad at. Okay? And it's a little bit annoying where it's like, if you're going to be all in, then be all in. Be at that protest with a fucking rotary phone. Don't be at the protest with your cell phone that was made by slaves.
That's that pipe's a little rusty.
Yeah.
It's a little rusty because it hasn't been pulled out a lot. Yeah. But you just pulled out, you knocked around a few heads.
And I just knocked around a few heads because make no mistake, when I get below 220, which I guess I'm 219 right now, the steel pipe comes out. Sometimes when I'm over 220, I'm a little too fat to swing the pipe. But now that I'm under 219, the pipe is out there, and it's just, do you know what I'm trying to say?
I know what you're trying to say.
Like a little truthy-woothy, where it's a little bit like,
I know.
What, there's everything, there's a problem with everything in the world.
Yes.
There's a problem with everything. And listen, I'm not saying I think that protesting is great. It's a great liberty and freedom that we have. Go try to do that in Iran or Russia.
Just do it on the sidewalk so we can drive.
And you'll probably get hurt. But I also know that a lot of these protests you claim are about this cause are really about you. That's why you're filming it.
Yeah.
That's why you have to make sure there's a record of you being there.
Yeah.
That's why you're live streaming.
Yeah.
Because it's about you. You're a narcissist.
Yeah.
I've been outraged at things the government has done and things that have happened in this world. I've never went to a protest because I got more important shit to do. Okay? I got to do things. I don't have the time on my hands to get out there. Okay? So just know that I know you're full of shit. Just know that I really know you're full of shit. I'm not knocking what you're doing. I understand you got to get out there. You got to fight for what you think is right. But just understand that if you do it all with an iPhone in your hand, then you're supporting slavery. So who are you really?
Just know that you may think you're fooling everybody, but there's one guy who's currently under 220 who's got the same Mets jersey on that he always wears.
And by the way, let me just make it clear.
Walking around with a pipe.
Walk around with a pipe. And let me just make it absolutely crystal clear that I'm wearing this Mets jersey. And the main reason I'm wearing this Mets jersey is because it is Mike Piazza and I support Pride Month because he's a gay guy.
That's what they say on the
That's what it
streets.
is.
That's what they say on the streets.
So people say, oh, Chris, oh, what are you, a Yankees fan one day, a Mets fan the other day? No, I'm supporting gay pride. It's June. I'm wearing a Piazza jersey.
Now, often we do history in a fun way, and we don't want to tell you what is and isn't.
Yeah.
We want you to go and learn for yourself, read books. We're here for fun.
Right.
But what Chris just told you is what we call a truth Bader Ginsburg, and now I'm going to hit you with another one.
Please, thank you.
Okay. On that same theme, this blew my mind when I found out that the last Confederate general to officially surrender was an Indian guy named Stand Watie, who surrendered his command. So he was still fighting the war.
Yeah.
He was still fighting the war till June 23rd, 1865. So 4 days after Juneteenth, he was like, okay.
Yeah.
So these Indians really took a liking to that system and didn't want to give it up.
It's just what it is.
He was a brigadier general in the Confederate Army, and he was the only American Indian to reach the rank of brigadier general. And this kid was like, I'm not giving up. This feels good.
Yeah.
He's got a little power.
It's just
and
what
he
it
didn't
is.
want to give it up.
It's just what it is. Stan Watie, which was probably not his birthright Native American name. The kid converted to white, and he went with Stan Watie.
Yeah, his real name was kind of wind, fire, dust.
Yes.
And dirt.
His real name,
was Wolfman Ilode.
Yeah, his real name was Running Slaves. It's what it is. Yeah.
And if you look at a picture of the guy, he does not look white. I mean, he is a Native American. I mean, that kid is as Indian looking as you can. I think he just changed his government from Running Slaves to Stand Watie. But his original name was probably Running Slaves.
Running Slaves.
Which is a 10.
It's just a 10, and it's just what it is.
Yeah.
And it's just what it is. And the thing is that when you go to New Mexico, it is almost impossible to tell apart who's Mexican and who's Native American. You almost can't do it. The only way I was able to do it is the Mexicans had tattoos on their legs and were hitting their girlfriends.
Yeah.
Loud 14.
Well, there's an easier way to tell them apart.
Yeah.
One's going to offer you a churro stick, and the other one's going to be asleep on a curb.
It's what it is.
Loud 14.
It's what it is.
It's what it is.
Just kid it around.
That's what Schmidy says.
Yeah, it's just Schmidy says.
That's the way Schmidy did this thing.
But I really do just want to shout out New Mexico and what a great state it is and how great the people are there. It really is. If you've ever been, and Santa Fe, New Mexico is the oldest state capital in the country, by the way. It was built in the 1600s.
Wow.
So it's pretty dope, and it's really cool place to be. And
it's good that you got your thing.
I got my thing.
You got your thing. You have that thing that someone on the spectrum has.
Yes.
Where they keep track of something that other people could give a shit less about.
Yeah.
So some people like to count bird feathers or coins on the floor. You're a kid who just needs a picture with every state capital.
I just need a picture with every state capital. Yeah, and what I do is I just take a bunch of them. And I just pick what's right, and that is just the face of someone who has autism.
That's it.
That's
Look at you,
the face of someone who has autism.
Yeah.
And I just asked my guy to just take a bunch of them, and I give thumbs up. And I was wearing my hat on. I was wearing my hat on that. What does it say? What is my "Thou shalt not surrender" from the USS Lincoln? And I was wearing my hat on. And the good thing about being in New Mexico and wearing a hat on like that is there's a lot of armed services there. So when you wear on that hat, everyone just assumes you're in the military. And I was able to pre-board early on Delta flights.
That's a good move.
Just walking up with that hat on because they said any U.S. military, and you don't have to say anything. You just show the hat, and they say, "Sir, thank you for your service."
That is a nice what they call loophole. So go get yourself a nice veteran hat and just walk up to the front when they say it. You don't have, if you're in coach, but you don't want to wait, just put on a U.S. Army hat and just walk with confidence.
But it has to be
limp.
In the South or Southwest states. That's where the Army, military will get on first. In the North states, then you just have to wear some type of rainbow flag, and then you can get on.
Then you can get on.
The North, you wear the rainbow flag. The South, you wear the American flag. Either way, you can pre-board on Delta flights.
Yes, you can.
Now, let's talk about, Jesse, if you could pull up. Do you have something else that you go on from your research? I want to talk about some of the conspiracies. Oh, you know what? Before we do any of this, because I want to get into some conspiracy theories about Juneteenth, let's listen to a message from our sponsors that we don't care about. Harry's. Yanni, you love Harry's. You talk about Harry's a lot. You're always telling me that you're shaving with Harry's.
I love Harry's. Harry's is a good razor. It's very nice, and it's personally what I just happen to use.
Yeah, and go ahead. Sorry, I was just going to say, you know why my favorite part about Harry's?
What?
The blades are all engineered in Germany.
I know that you love that part.
Yeah, I just like that because I have German heritage.
And that's what makes Harry's such a good razor, is because the Germans can engineer things. That's what they're good at.
They're very, very good at engineering and blades.
Yeah, they're very good at that.
Yeah.
And right now you can get a $10 trial set for only $5 at harrys.com/historyhyenas, an exclusive offer for our listeners. I love them because it's just easy, man.
Yeah.
You're going to need new blades constantly because they get dull, and Harry's just makes the process very easy.
And they got the $5, the 5-blade razor with that weighted handle and that foaming shave gel, and the travel cover for just $5 at harrys.com/historyhyenas. I like it because everything. This is the world we live in. Everything's automated. Nobody wants to go to a store. I got to go to CVS, and the blades are behind bulletproof glass.
Yeah.
And I don't want to do it. I don't want to wait for some, attendant to come over, take some 20 minutes because he's high on edibles, dealing with this because we got to put our things behind bulletproof glass because this is the country we live in. So Harry's is good because the razors just come to your door.
Yes.
You just get them.
Yes. You can also get them in a store, but this is much easier this way. It's all in one. Get the deodorant, lotion, body wash, hair gel. They got great products. So for just $5, go right now to harrys.com/historyhyenas. Let me just say, normally their trial set is $10, but right now you can get it for $5 at harrys.com/historyhyenas. That's their exclusive link for us. harrys.com/historyhyenas. Go get your $5 trial set.
So there's some conspiracy cuties. This is a conspiracy cuties part of the episode, which Yanni and I have so much fun with, is that we take some conspiracies about whatever topic we're talking about, and Juneteenth has a couple of them. One of the ones that I thought was very interesting was that Lincoln really didn't care about any of this, that the Emancipation Proclamation, it didn't free all the slaves, just the ones in Confederate states. Did you know that, little truthy-wooty?
I did.
So like if you were a slave in the North, because some of these, because 4 states, Delaware, Maryland, Kentucky, and West Virginia, even though they fought with the Union, slavery was still legal, so you weren't free if you were in those, you were only free in the South.
Yeah, there was those pesky border states.
Right. So he didn't free all the slaves, and it was more a military strategy than a moral act because he thought that this is what was best to preserve the Union, not that he cared. Now, it's kind of a half-truth because it really Juneteenth, they say, the conspiracy is that Juneteenth was just a time to distract how the North actually profited from slavery and how freedom wasn't truly granted. It had to be fought for even after the war, because it's interesting that we are taught that this was only about slavery, and it was mostly about slavery, but not only about slavery, because as we said, these Union states that fought with the North, the good guys, some of them were slave-holding states. So it's a very interesting fact. And then the other one that I liked was that, not liked at all, that's just a truth about this that we kind of touched on, was that the angle, there's a deliberate angle of Juneteenth that is undertaught because, again, our history teachers, our curriculum, our education system, which was made by John D. Rockefeller, which we've talked about many times on this podcast about how he's instituted a worker mind, kind of only know what you're supposed to know mindset so we can have people work in his American factories, that there was a lot of violence associated with Juneteenth, and very shortly after Juneteenth, that there was a lot of violence resistance from Texans who were enforcing emancipation. So these Union soldiers, General Gordon was going down there to emancipate people, and the actual white Texans of Galveston and the surrounding areas were fighting against this emancipation. They did not want this. Many freed black people were attacked or even re-enslaved after June 19th, 1865, well into 1866. And I think that this violent downplay is like a history erasure, because our government, for whatever reason, does not want to let you know that America can be pretty bad too.
Yeah. I mean, they were freed, but they got the slave owners were tricky, and they figured out new ways. They're like, here's some labor contracts.
Right. That's why even children, immediately children under 6 years old were freed, even like the emancipation. So you got freed right away. But if you were over 6 years old, you weren't freed. Your title was just changed, and you were now called an apprentice.
Yeah.
But that's all that was. But you were still a slave.
Yeah.
You couldn't do anything. So there's a lot of these things that kind of, happen in history. You're like, like there were a lot of lynchings in the North too. It was just not good.
I mean, Pennsylvania's got a lot of. I mean, the KKK was like living still large in Pennsylvania,
100%,
which is like the home of the Quakers, who never wanted slaves.
Pennsylvania was one of the last northern states to make slavery illegal.
Yeah,
because here's the thing: the British. Slavery being a problem started to bubble up in really the late 1600s, 1700s. Like Britain outlawed it, I believe, in the 1700s, and then other states and other countries started happening in the 1800s. But again, Cuba, Brazil, and the United States in the 1860s all had slavery was legal. So again, Cuba, Brazil, not white people were enslaving people. So I'm not.
Those were white people too down there
in Cuba.
Yeah.
So
and Brazil.
Yeah. So
yeah.
What? But are you saying because Cuba had Jews? What are you saying?
I'm just saying the opposite of what you said is true. But that's okay. That happens once in a while.
No, but Cuba and Brazil are not. They're Latino.
Yeah, but they're white.
What? Yeah, but what I'm saying
they just speak Spanish.
I'm not.
The slave owners down there were white, just like in America.
I'm not excusing what this country did with slavery. It was awful. But what I am saying is it wasn't only the whites with slavery. I'm just saying, like, it's taught to our kids, and it's taught in history that white people are bad, bad, bad. And we definitely are. White people definitely have been in history bad, bad, bad. But they've been as bad, bad, bad as many other people in history. Where it's just the most recent.
Well, blacks enslaved each other in Africa. Native Americans enslaved each other. As slavery, white people were enslaved by Arabs.
Right.
That part is true.
I'm not.
But when it comes to chattel slavery, I'm going to have to say we're going to say mostly white, and by mostly I mean almost all, with a few exceptions.
With a few exceptions, but
with a few Native Americans who just like the lifestyle.
Yeah, but I'm just saying overall, right? Yeah. I'm just basically what I'm trying to say is shouldn't Juneteenth?
You're on the ice.
I'm on the ice, but shouldn't Juneteenth really just be celebrating us? I mean, we're the ones that told them.
Lad 14.
I mean, it's like, what about the people who told them?
Yeah. Hello. I mean, you should thank God. Thank God Helen Keller didn't get the news. These people would have never found out.
Yeah.
It's just what it is.
It's like the underappreciation.
Yeah.
The underappreciation of the person who spread the news.
On Juneteenth, on this day, can I just at least get a thank you for the African American community?
I never thought about that.
I mean, I'm just saying.
Yeah, I never thought about that. I never thought that.
Yeah. It's just
I never thought we were going to take the car and reverse it out of the driveway that you were going and end there.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
When I'm on 220, things just happen.
Yeah, you took me to a drive-through a wild.
I took you to a drive-through, and then what also has happened 46 minutes into this beautiful podcast is my low dose has kicked in, and I am back safely on the beat.
Yeah. I mean, I know what you're trying to say.
Right. And obviously,
that's what you were trying to get at.
We're just being funny. We're being silly willies. But, it's just an interesting angle. We just like to take, because
that is definitely an interesting angle.
Because you're going to hear all about Juneteenth today on different history stuff. And you don't need us to just tell you about the history you probably already know, or you absolutely should know. Yeah. But also, let's just have some, some alternate theories and some alternate ways to celebrate this.
And we also want to know what kind of sneakers Opal was wearing.
Yes,
I want to know if she had orthotics in or no.
Yeah.
I mean, did she change shoes?
Yeah.
I mean, that's a long walk, and it's sweaty and it's hot.
It's just
what
it
her
is.
feet must have stunk.
Yeah.
It's a long walk. But I mean, that is a hero. She's 94. I think she's 94 now.
She's still alive.
And this happened in 2021.
She has good cholesterol.
She's got good cholesterol.
She's probably eating Fajita yogurt in the morning with a little protein.
Yes. So basically, I mean, the theme of this is that black people persevered, not just through slavery.
Yeah.
That's the thing. People always want to go, slavery. The great Louis C.K. joke is, it's one of the best jokes, dude. I think he told it on a late night show where he's like, white people always want to add years to how long ago slavery was. Like, that was like 400 years. Remember, because you always hear that from people. It was like 400 years ago. Get over it. It's like, no, it wasn't, dude.
Right.
First of all, it was like 160 years.
Yeah.
And then he goes, that's like two old people living back to back.
Yeah.
It was not that long ago.
He's right.
It was like 160 years ago. And then it wasn't like slavery was over and it was just like the next thing you know, LeBron James was making $1 billion.
Right.
That didn't happen like that. It, in a lot of ways, was just as bad or worse for them until like, you know, it's now.
It's really, I was going to say.
They didn't have an easy ride.
It's really only like in recent history that we've been alive in where I think black people are getting as, like they're, it's truly equal, as close to equal as it's ever been in life.
Yeah.
It's now.
Yeah.
It wasn't in the 60s and 50s. There was still a lot of problems.
Oh,
just because you were free.
70s and 80s.
Same thing like we said in the very immediate history of in 1866, African Americans were still getting killed in the streets.
Yeah.
So like that just, again, it just didn't stop. Now we are in a much better place where we could say that I believe our children are growing up in a world where there is the closest to true equality there's ever been, and that's a good thing.
Yes. I mean, it's just recently that you're starting to see black billionaires and
yes,
an emerging middle class and a generation of people who like have a little less anger. But I mean, this was an unbelievable amount of trauma in a very short time, and it was very disorienting.
Yes.
I mean, you know, one of the things that's downplayed a lot is the graping. I mean,
yes,
it like, because they did, this is another Truth Bader Ginsburg that, you know, it's so horrifying that, you know, I think it's overlooked. They don't teach it in schools, but I mean, African Americans have about 20 to 25% European ancestry.
Right.
So that's a lot of graping.
That is.
That's a lot of graping. And I think that was just kind of part of the control. You know, that what they did, okay, they had anti-literacy laws. So you were killed if you read. It was against the law for a black to read. They also gave him a slave Bible. There was something called the slave Bible,
okay,
which is another Truth Bader Ginsburg. A slave Bible was a version of the Bible that they gave to slaves that justified, you know,
like
the hierarchy of races.
Yeah, it's awful.
They and they just graped them.
And cuz what we know about what we've talked about, what, you know, modern science is proving is that memories are inherited. You inherit some of your mother's trauma. Just in utero, that's a fact. So a lot of there are black people alive right now who have inherited trauma and memories all the way from back then. So that's a reality. That's a Truth Bader Ginsburg of someone. There are people alive today that kind of live those things, even though they haven't. So that argument of, oh, well, you didn't live back then, or a black person, you know, is saying something about it. It's like, well, maybe they haven't physically lived back then, but the memories could be in there. The trauma could be passed down generation to generation.
Absolutely.
All that is real.
Absolutely. It's passed down chemically, and then it's passed down with your conditioning, just the way your parents react, their worldview, and on every layer of being a human, this is passed down. And then I just want to take a stop at 1915.
Let's stop at 1915. That's where my hair is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your hair is
I got a little haircut, though.
You look good.
Yeah.
You look good.
Yeah.
Yeah, you look good.
You'd like me to put a few pounds back in my face.
Well, it just, your features get very sharp when you lose weight.
Yeah. They get very sharp.
You have a head that's supposed to be on a bulky guy that's built for hurling. You're a German kid who's built for hurling.
Yeah, I'm built for hurling and
hurling certain things.
Yes, hurling certain things, and the fact that whenever I go to a country and compete in hurling, I always like to pick a stone that is about the average weight of whatever the citizens of those countries are. Because I like to hurl people.
Yeah, if you were alive during the 1930s or 40s, I think, based on your family's lineage, probably, I don't think you guys were in the castles because you came to America, you moved to Ridgewood, and you became union guys.
It's just what.
So if you were around during that time,
Yeah.
I think your job would be with the shovel and coal,
Yeah.
going in to keep certain boxes hot.
It's just.
Flat 14.
But make absolutely no mistake, I would feel really bad about it because I'm the type of kid that I just want everyone to be happy, and I want to remind you to go out there and every stranger, family member or friend you meet, is you treat them as if they're going to die tonight at midnight,
And see if your life doesn't get better.
and you tell me tomorrow if your life didn't get a little bit better.
Okay, 1915 we're taking you to. There's a little film called Birth of a Nation. Now this is 75, 85, 95. How many years after 1865?
Hold on,
That's a lot of time.
let me do this.
50 plus fucking years.
35, 130. I'm going to say that's 150 years after.
50 years. Now, this film was a blockbuster in America.
Okay.
Okay. Equivalent to 60 million in revenue.
It was like their version of Barbie.
It really was.
Yeah.
It really was their Barbie. And this is where
Yeah.
the country was in 1915, way after slavery was eradicated.
And I just want to say real quickly, Margot Robbie has absolutely no fumade, and I am in the program.
I will slurp her poop.
It's just what it is.
It's just what I'll do.
Yeah.
And that's what it is.
And she is gorgeous, and I don't even care if she's addicted to Vicodin or whatever pill she's on. I just want to be there.
Oh, that just makes it better.
Yeah, it's just what it is.
So the film Birth of a Nation, which everyone's heard about, but what it was a film about a black dude chasing a white woman, and
I'm listening.
and she essentially she's chased to this cliff, right, and she chooses to kill herself rather than kill herself rather than be defiled by this crazed black guy.
Yeah.
And the Ku Klux Klan ride to the rescue, and it portrays black people as lustful towards white women. And it was inaccurate because the white women in the film were under 170.
Yeah, it's just what it is.
So it's just not true.
It's just not
if
true.
If it was a big white girl, I could assume there may be some truth to it. If she was 220, 300, I maybe say I can see some black guys lusting after her.
It's just what it is.
But so this was shown in the White House. It was a hit, and it was white actors in blackface who played freed slaves who threatened the purity and order of the South while the Klan rides to save the day. So this reignited the Klan because the Klan had faded. It was formed in 1866, right after Reconstruction, and it inspired the second Klan in 1915.
Right.
And our president, Woodrow Wilson, praised it as like writing history with lightning.
Yeah.
That's the president of the United States gave it an applause break.
Yeah. Now, was it remade? Jesse just pulled up a trailer of Birth of a Nation from 2016. Was the Birth of a Nation remade?
They may have redone it. I don't know. Did they make it with black people?
Well, I was going to say
they did 4 Deaths in a Funeral?
I would assume that they redid it, but they redid it like changing, like making basically the bad guys white and the good guys black.
That would be great if they did that.
Is that what they did? Well, that's why that movie Sinner is a great movie and like #1 on the box office hits because the Satan is played by a white guy.
Yeah. I'd like to see Birth of a Nation remade by Quentin Tarantino.
Yeah, it's what it is.
That would be great.
Yeah.
Because there's 2 things he loves, is a black hero and the N-word.
Now, if you want
So that's a perfect movie for him.
Right. Now, if you want to see the original version of Birth of a Nation, as Yanni was referring to, you can just go to fandango.com, put in that promo code Hyenas, and you get half off.
Just get it. This is just an example of how long blacks had to just endure. I mean, slavery ended, but it didn't really end.
Can I just tell you one thing, too?
Yeah.
I had a layover this weekend from my flight from New Mexico in Atlanta. There was no straight way to get from New Mexico back to New York, so you have to lay over somewhere. And I laid over in Atlanta. And I just want to say that Atlanta, which is, I would say, the most prominent city for African Americans, the first and foremost, amazing people. The staff, it's mostly Delta Hub. The staff, who's predominantly black at the Delta Lounge and just the Delta employees of there are amazing. I mean, it is fun. The women, black women, when I was in Atlanta, I saw 5 or 6 of maybe truly the most beautiful women I've ever seen in public. Like the most gorgeous black women where you're like, I'll do anything. I mean, absolutely beautiful. But what I love about, one of the things that I love about, and this could have just been these people, but it's quite often I see this when I'm around, especially older black people, is the anxiety that you feel about offending at all times when you're around white people, and I can't say this, and oh my God, I can't say that. Black people are just more about, because they have much bigger problems, again, as we've spoken about at length today, the trauma that they went through. I saw this black guy, older black guy working at Delta, walked up to a black female working at Delta, and he goes, and this is just how he sounded. This is not a stereotype of black accents. This is just this very specific guy. He was like, yo, what up, baby? You still my wife? And she was like, what? She was like, I was your wife 10 minutes ago. He goes, yeah, but you know you still my wife, girl. And she was like, what is your actual wife gonna think? He was like, she don't gotta know nothing. And then they laughed and just high-fived. And then this other woman came by, and she was, I think his name was Ralph. She was like, is Ralph messing with you again? And she was like, you know, Ralph just likes to play like that. And then she was like, baby, I know, I love Ralph. And I said to myself, just that interaction, which in a white community is a sexual harassment claim, someone's going to try to get money, and oh my God, and I was, you know, the trauma of this and bullshit. It's just three black people just being like, he's an old guy. Old guys are creepy. They make creepy comments. He didn't touch me. He made a stupid comment, and that's it. And I move on. Yeah. And I was just like, they have, like, there's not stress around everything with the black people that I was around.
They got bigger things to worry about.
Exactly. Yeah. So I think that's something beautiful about that, where it's just like, they're old school. And I took that moment. I was like, this is good. I'm not saying go on sexually harass your coworkers, but I'm just saying there's certain moments where the guy was just messing around. Yeah. And she was like, oh yeah, happy Father's Day. Yeah. And he's like, he wasn't, he was just being, in his opinion, friendly.
I think what we can learn is when you learn how much they went through, I mean, the only thing that got them through is faith, right? So what you learned is Juneteenth happened, and then white people in Texas didn't react well. They lied to their slaves. They knew about the Emancipation Proclamation for 2.5 years. They said, they didn't tell them about it. Then when Juneteenth came in, they hanged them. They made arrangements with them. They manipulated them. They did all types of things, but faith carried the black community through. Faith is what got them through, and it makes them a soulful people, and that's why they're so good in the arts and everything like that, is because they believed in a greater force that was going to make them free one day. And that's why I love an expression that I watched in this great documentary about Juneteenth. It said, in a lot of ways, faith is a big part of freedom. And I thought, you know what? That's true. Because if you don't have faith, you're imprisoned in some way. Right. You're imprisoned by fear, anxiety, skepticism. So faith is a big part of freedom. So you have to have faith, because at the end of the road, it's either your choice. You're either going to have to choose faith or fear. And that's just how it is. You got to choose faith, baby.
Choose faith all the time. That's why I have faith tattooed on my back at the bottom of the crucifix.
Yeah, that's what it is. And that's why that's why Faith made a song with P. Diddy.
Faith Evans.
Know what. Faith Evans. Yeah. But I want to say about this last historical fact, a little truth, Brady Ginsburg. We like to give you a few of these just to end the episode. So after Juneteenth, right, the blacks had to figure out how to be free, right? Because they were in a hostile place. A lot of them moved. They tried to go north. They went to Houston. A lot of them went to Houston. Now, in Houston, there's a historically significant African-American neighborhood that grew out of the aftermath of Juneteenth and emancipation. It's one of the oldest and most culturally rich black communities in the city, and it's called Freetown. It's Freetown. It's a story of freedom, resilience, and ongoing erasure. Now, Freetown was founded by formerly enslaved black Americans after emancipation started in the late 1860s. Located in the Fourth Ward, just west of downtown Houston, it was built literally by hand, including brick roads laid by freed slaves themselves, many of which still exist today and are now like historically protected. And that's where they went, and they celebrated Juneteenth. They owned everything. They built black churches. Nice. And jazz started to thrive there, and blues started to thrive there. And to quote one of them, he says, "We paved our own streets literally, and they're trying to drive over them like they were never there." Yeah. So they want to preserve that area. Nice. And it was a very important place. It's a living symbol of how freedom didn't come with support, but black people built it anyway.
Preserving freedom, that's what we got to do. What a beautiful time. Now we are going to do a follow. We're going to talk a little bit more about this at patreon.com/historyhyenas. And we're also going to talk to you about Iran at patreon.com/historyhyenas, but not Iran current day, Iran back in the day and the history of those beautiful.
When it was Persian before the Muzzies showed up.
Exactly. So that's a fun, wild, off the rails Patreon. And of course, at the end of every episode, we honor and read out the names of the newest members of the matriarchy, the Patreon, who went to patreon.com/historyhyenas and joined our beautiful fight for freedom. So as always, the best, most funniest name will go become our PPW, pseudo penis of the week, and that can be seen at historyhyenas.com, as well as Yanni's and I stand-up dates, which we're coming all over.
And once we get our shit together a little bit more, we're probably going to give you some sort of t-shirt or something for winning this.
Yes, 100%.
So we just got to get our merch store together.
Yeah, it's right. Yeah.
We just built our infrastructure much like the emancipated blacks.
100%.
You know, we were enslaved by being off the beam. We're back on the beam.
Yeah.
And we're just building Freetown.
We're building Freetown, and I want to thank Führer Trump for giving us back our freedom. Okay, welcome to the matriarchy, Horatio, master of self-fellatio.
Very good.
Very good.
I'm going to Drexler right off the bat.
Okay, Mark Payton, Miles Cooney, John LaSusa, Corey Smith, Sauce Monkey with the Bucatini weenie.
I'm going to Drexler that as well. 2 strong Drexlers. In my gut, I feel like we got better coming.
Bucatini weenie was good, though.
We got better days coming.
Then we got John Hill, Opus Nasty, Bob Woods, Tate Tahara. Then we got My OnlyFans funds my hot dog habit. Okay.
Drexler.
Blake Wright, AJ, Emmanuel Jackson, Gaz Dust, Joe Manis, Will Travis, Edward Wilson, Zach, Kanye's cousin, not the one from the song.
Drexler.
Okay. Then we got Please Don't Beat Me, Boss.
Chicken finger. Yeah.
Then we got Wayshawn P. Diddy, Took My Lunchbox, Now I Walk Funny. Okay.
Okay.
Seth Davey, China Hacked My Grinder, Now It Hurts When I Pee. Like IP. Yeah, I like it.
Too creative to not give it a Drexler.
Okay. Corey Dryden, Southpaw Sasquatch, Biggie Warren Diddy, Molesting Mo Problems.
Molesting Mo Problems is really good Drexler.
Yeah.
It's a heavy Drexler list.
Zilla, because they're a building's worst nightmare.
The walked into one are so good, though.
Can't do it, though.
You can't do it, but it's so good.
Then we got
so good.
Then we got PBR with a straw. John Curlis, Girth, Wind, and Fire.
Put him on the list.
Okay, Girth, Wind, and Fire.
Yeah, instead of Earth, Wind, and Fire, Girth, Wind, and Fire. His dick comes with a fury.
Then we got Frisbee Chauvin would be free.
Walked in a wad.
That is not true.
That is not true. I like that little scolding.
Yeah,
that is not true.
Weenlex, Ricky Tango. Then we got Help, I took a shot of baby oil at the white party. Now my throat's glued shut, and I testify tomorrow.
Put him on the list.
All right, great.
Wouldn't it be funny sketch, just like a teacher who has a class full of racist people, and they're just saying things like that. The teacher's just like, that is not true. And they're just overwhelmed. And that is also not true.
Yeah.
And that is
not
true.
That is not okay.
That is not okay.
Yeah. My friend Jamal's father's favorite actor is Keanu Reeves. I don't know. Okay. Christopher Peterson, Troy Chartier.
Oh, wait. Oh, my God. I get it.
Oh, Keanu Reeves. Keanu Reeves.
So he's saying his friend is Asian and his father.
No, he's saying my friend Jamal's father's favorite actor is Keanu Reeves because he's saying he left. He doesn't have a father. Right?
Keanu Reeves? I thought it was Reeves and he couldn't pronounce the R, so he called it Reeves. Keanu Reeves.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Either way, it's
over our head. Maybe it's over our head. And when one goes over our head, they get mad at us.
They get mad at us, and we're sorry. Like,
shout out Leroy Ceiling Cricket.
Yeah.
That has become
sorry about that.
I heard now that's become like a thing they just constantly repeat.
Yeah, on the Patreon.
They haunt us with it.
Yeah. Then we got Kyle Anderson, Osama bin Carson, Genghis Khan licked my dong. It's what it is. Kevin's girlfriend saw Chrissy D crack open and clean out Herman.
Okay.
What?
Did you bang a guy
Kevin's
that you forgot about?
No. Clean out Herman. I don't know. Here from my cuties with smoothies, which we're going to bring back.
Yeah.
Call me charcuterie board because I'm for the table.
That's a really good one.
Charcuterie.
Yeah.
Very fun.
We're going to Drexler it.
Kenneth Dick, Angel Guzman, Carlo Aros, Andrew Galinsky, Harrison Baquette, Tanner Hart. Spray your bib into the hot glue gun in my chocolate Hamas tunnel. I'm sorry.
Victim of a bad rape.
Sorry about that. Real fans using Ticketmaster straight to the back. Okay. Romanian, not Romani, a.k.a. Caravan Monkey.
Caravan Monkey. Put him on the list. I like that.
Genghis just here for the content.
Ooh.
Nice, funny, creative.
Chicken finger.
That was good. G-Lo, Sean B, Sackless Balls. That's funny to just have
Chicken finger.
open air balls.
Yeah, just open balls. Just they're levitating on their own.
Joe Early, Sister Mary held open my fanny pack for the Lord's blessing. King Baby Kush God, Levi Hoskins, Josh Balk, Spencer Shriek, Red Jockey hollering the Frisbees, Muzzies are coming. Okay. Chrissy got clipped backstage at the Gold Glove Awards by Steve Garvey. It's just what it is. Joey B's prostate, Cody Herring.
Joey B's prostate, Joe Biden's prostate.
Steve Helm, Jeremy Roth, petition to rename the Jurassic Park.
The problem we're coming.
Walked into what?
Can I just say we're running into a problem?
Yeah.
The problem that we're running into is the walked into ones are the best.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I just want to acknowledge, we acknowledge how funny it is.
We acknowledge how funny it is, but we also got to be careful because we don't want to be this to be a place where like we're breeding hate.
We don't want to breed hate.
So like that.
So we have to just say no. We have to just be that teacher and say that is not true.
Okay.
It's not true.
But they spelled it Jew Jurassic Park.
It's so good. Yeah. But I have to say we can't do that.
Mark Haynes, and here's another walked in paraglide tour guide.
Lat 14.
Walked into what?
Then we got Casey Anthony coming back was my 9/11.
Drexler.
Okay. If Chrissy was a missy, you could call me Bill Cosby.
Okay.
Okay. Call it a bug migration because Chiggers in Paris walked into it. Can't do it.
Well, it's a song, and Chiggers is a bug.
Yeah.
So, I mean, look, we didn't name the bug Chiggers.
Yeah.
It's an actual
real name.
bug, and you call them Chiggers.
It's a real name.
We just had fun with it.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to give you a Drexler for
Drexler.
that. Yeah, and it's a walked into one.
Josh V, Tyler, Avarumi, Tommy Mulder, James Dixon, Hayden Craig, Lyle Chipperson, One Flew Over Seppuku's Nest. It's like a suicide joke, right? Isn't seppuku?
Yes.
One Flew Over Seppuku's Nest.
Yeah, but we can't support that.
Can't support Suey.
If you're having thoughts, talk to one.
Talk to someone.
It's a temporary problem.
Yeah. Then we got Ben, Uncle Touchy. Then we got I Live on a Calda, Suck on Them, Titties, Yum Yum, Get You Some. Okay. $3 Leroy Bill with a glue gun grill. Okay. Mm-hmm. Alexander, Cool Guy Zamusada. Dave, Eric Barknott, Pierre Yves McLaughlin, Freaky Zeke, Kylie Potts, Jordan Geronimo, Jorge Andre. If it's a chigger, it's probably bigger. Can't. Okay.
Lat 14.
They're having fun with
Can't
the
do
bug. I mean, someone has to change the name of that bug.
Yeah. Ryan Carter, Jeff here, Matthew Moore, Nick Furyk, Tala Ayaz, William, Tim Manzella, Pete Lindeck, Duncan Stewart, T98@gmail.com. Screwed in. Newar, Nicholas M. Upchurch, Carlton Purcell, Zeke, G straight to the back, an Indian reptile, a.k.a. the Fumigator.
Drexler.
Okay, Uncle Nicole, Jorge, my Uncle Nick. Oh, walked in a while. Shit. Okay. Because he spelled it like a name. Yeah. Yeah.
Got you again, yeah.
David Vidal, Charles, Anthony Moretti, Stilly, Matthew Kuhn.
Matthew.
Watch gay porn, but I'm not, so I stroke my glue gun with icy hot.
Watch gay porn, but I'm not. So he's trying to he's trying to make himself hate it.
Yeah, but
I'm going to put him on the list because
Okay.
That's a deep one.
Yeah,
it's
and
very
you
funny.
And you understand.
So he's saying I like it, but I put icy hot to make myself think I don't like it.
Yeah. Then we got Mahatma Kuchi, Luke McGarry, Vanessa Seesba, Megan T, Jack Hayes, Natalie Amato, Austin Lovelace, John Leitner, Derek McGuire, Joseph Scanelli or Scannell, Thomas Matelsta, Ryan Sweeney, Famario LaFumes. Then we got the space between Yanni's eyes. Make no mistake, because I'm a squeak. Leroy's overreact laughing. Oh, can't say that. I mean, now I've just caught it. You just full out said the N-word, and that's not okay.
It's not okay.
Can't say that.
Yeah.
Chet Hanks, STD bill.
Put him on the list.
Okay. Yep. That's an interesting one.
That's an interesting one.
On the runway, but the pilots at DEI hire.
Put him on the list.
There you go.
Contender, get out the catapult. I knew it was coming.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be the guy.
Yeah, okay. But we'll just get through this
So
list.
he's going to live.
Yeah.
Which is the opposite.
Yeah. Natalie Portman's Jew broad fumes. Okay. Benjamin Nolet, Sina Koshvani, just a Leroy who makes blankets, but don't call me a knitter.
Well, he's black himself.
Yeah.
He's black himself.
But it's,
It's a
chicken finger then?
I would put that on the. Don't call me a knitter. I make blankets, but
he's
don't call
saying
me
he's
a
black.
knitter.
He's black.
He's
saying.
black, so I'm putting him on the list.
Okay.
That's a contender.
All right.
Yeah. He's saying I'm a knitter. I make blankets. I'm a black guy who makes blankets, but don't call me a knitter.
It's just what it is.
I mean, I think it's a fun one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Derek Wagner, Francisco, Gun Germs, and Steel Pipe Chrissy.
Ooh.
Connor Fenwick.
I'm going to give that an honor. It's a great book, Gun Germs and Steel, so I'm just going to give that an honor, Ray Drexler.
Lucian, why do black people use my name as a first name marquee? Okay.
Lucian.
I don't know it. Okay. Taylor Brandt, Alex Aguilar, Chris, it's the Chinese. We are ready to buy your house.
Very funny. I'm going to Drexler it.
Okay. Massage loving maple monkey betrayed by his ATM receipts.
That is a Canadian guy who gets massages.
And his wife caught him.
And his
with
wife
the ATM
caught him,
receipt.
so we're going to put him on the list.
Yeah, it's just what it is.
It's just what
the
it
kid
is.
needs help right now.
He needs help, and it's a creative one.
I mean, he can only afford to eat his dinner at Tim Hortons right now. Twinkie Dick.
Chicken finger.
History, Hyenas plan 3-year time span. Debo Fly Balls 2020. Fart McGuire. Andrew Potato Sauce Monkey Borsetti. Ash D. Danny Avalar. If it ain't right, why's the glue always white? Okay.
It's funny. It's a walked into one, kind of Drexler.
Okay. I don't get it. If it ain't right, why is the glue?
If it ain't right, why is it always white? Meaning white is always right.
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 But okay.
Yeah.
All right. Rectimus Prime, transform my glue
Rectimus
dumpster.
Ooh. Say it again.
Rectimus Prime, transform my glue dumpster.
Put him on the list.
Okay, glue dumpster's fun
Yeah,
too.
and his Rectimus Prime, his asshole.
And then we got another Nate Higgers, which I'm just going to say we should retire.
Yeah.
No more of those.
Yeah.
But somebody did it. And they wrote it's an anagram. Mushu's pork poop shoot with glue fumes. Stephen Fisher, Stamos Isfaji, and Yannis Chobani. Funny. Joshua Cashwell, Trumpelstiltskin gives it to me doggy style, and I like it.
Draxy.
My history, Hyena's name in my bio. Hawk Jua, and spit on that frisbee.
Put him up. The walked in ones are so good.
Spit on that frisbee was in because we've heard Hawk Jua, but spit on that frisbee's nice.
We're gonna walk into one.
Walked into one. Okay. Sean Terry's buff beefcake daddy. Esh Money. The Pope farted on my dick and it made me glue his fart ripper shut. Okay. Yanni catapulted. Chrissy denied his corpus. Hey, baby, it's corpus. Walked into one. Can't disparage.
But funny.
Jorge Floyd, CPAP Supplies, PTY,
Oh
LTD.
my God. Oh my God.
Say it again.
Oh my God.
Jorge Floyd, CPAP
I love when they
Supplies.
get him past Chrissy. Just
PTY,
take a second with
LTD.
that.
Jorge Floyd, George Floyd. Oh,
George Floyd CPAP supply. He couldn't breathe.
Yeah,
So he needs
not good.
CPAP.
Not
That's
good.
a very
Yeah.
bad one.
Very bad one.
Very creative.
I literally thought it was a company. I was going to say it was screwed up.
I know.
So it's good that we didn't say that.
Now they're having fun just tricking you.
Yeah. Michael never jacking it, son.
Okay, that is not okay.
That is not okay.
That is just not okay.
We are not okay.
That is not true.
Back on the beam, glue canoe in my way. Back on the beam, glue canoeing my way upstream. Heido Jimenez, Kevin DeLuca, Nancy Pelosi's bombs over Baghdad.
Chicken finger.
Big fan of History Hyenas with Adolf and Fat Stamos.
Okay. Right.
Phil Kitchell, The Sacred Rocks, Yanni Piston in Gettysburg.
I like that chicken finger.
Justin Lieberman, Musk's Eyes, it sometimes does that. Bricked Up String Bean, Leroy with floaties to swim through Chrissy's well farts. Will Rodriguez, Chris Slavin.
Leroy with floaties would have been great.
Leroy
if
with
you just
floaties.
left it right there,
Yeah.
it would have been great. So I'm going to just give you a shout out.
Shout out. Matt W. And then last but not least, Chrissy's next co-host.
Drexler.
Okay. So we got a list now.
Yeah.
So at first we thought
And Leroy with floaties is still in my mind.
Yeah.
I just liked it's very funny.
Okay. So here's the list. Okay. Girth, Wind, and Fire.
Drexler it.
Drexler, so we're out.
Yeah.
Girth, Wind, and Fire, but thank you.
Thank you.
Then we got Help, I Took a Shot of Baby Oil at the White Party. Now my throat's glued shut, and I testify tomorrow.
So good.
I testify tomorrow made it very interesting.
Very good. So I'm going to Drexler it. Any other day, I'm sorry, it's just the other ones.
That's the
how it
definition
goes.
of a Clyde Drexler. Any other era he played in Michael Jordan's era, and it's just unfortunate.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
Romanian, not Romani, a.k.a. Caravan Monkey.
Caravan Monkey for Romanian people is very good.
But Drexler.
Thank you for bringing that to the lexicon, but we're going to Drexler.
Drexler, okay. Chet Hanks, STD bill.
Romy people are caravan monkeys because they travel. Sorry. What was the STD one?
Chet Hanks, STD bill.
Chicken finger it.
Okay. Watch gay porn, but I'm not, so I stroke my glue gun with icy hot.
Contender.
Still. Okay. So Chet Hanks, STD bill is chicken finger.
Yeah.
Then we got On the Runway, but the pilot's a DEI hire.
Contender.
Okay. Just a Leroy who makes blankets, but don't call me a knitter.
Contender.
Okay.
Those, yeah.
Massage-loving maple monkey betrayed by his ATM receipts.
We're going to Drexler it
Drexler.
any other day.
But, we feel for you.
Yeah.
Rectimus Prime, transform my glue dumpster.
We're gonna Drexler any other day.
Okay.
Funny factor was
so
there.
here we have 3 contenders.
Yeah, we do this right.
We have, I'll read them all 3 of them out. Watch gay porn, but I'm not, so I stroke my glue gun with icy hot.
So good.
On the Runway, but the pilot's a DEI hire. Or just a Leroy who makes blankets, but don't call me a knitter.
Okay, those 3 good ones. Here's the thing. The funniest one to me is the Leroy. And the most but the creative one, but it's inside, is the pilot, because you have to know that our lexicon is, if you're on the runway, it means you're going to die.
Right.
So since this is for our fans,
right?
What's the other one again? The third one?
Watch gay porn, but I'm not, so I stroke my glue gun with icy hot.
Very funny. We've had a lot of gay ones.
So that's out.
I'm going to Drexler that one, even though it's incredible.
I get it.
Because I like the struggle of what you're trying to do. You're trying to make yourself straight.
Yeah.
So it's very
funny. I get
funny.
that. You want to introduce pain.
You want to introduce pain to try to condition yourself like a Pavlovian dog to like girls.
Yeah.
And it's very funny.
And it's very hard.
It really deserves to win, when I think about it. But it's just...
Yeah.
This is what makes this hard.
So just a Leroy with who makes blankets, but don't call me a knitter. On the Runway, but the pilot is a DEI hire.
I'm going to go with On the Runway because the pilot's a DEI hire. Our fans know what it means. Shout out to the blanket maker.
Yeah, Jesse, would you agree?
Yes, I do agree.
And Jesse is the one who coined On the Runway, or that he's close.
Yeah,
Jesse coined he's close.
He's close.
So
On the Runway, but it's a DEA hire, so you're safe and you're going to live.
So if you go to...
Which is the opposite.
So you are the PPW, go to historyhyenasisback.com, see your name up in lights. You have won this week's Patreon. On the Runway, but the pilot's a DEI hire. That's the winner. Thank you, guys. As always, go to historyhyenasisback.com. Check out all our dates. I am in Atlantic City tomorrow and Saturday at the Atlantic City Comedy Club. And then I am in the Brea Improv July 18th and 19th, and then check the rest of the summer dates. We've also just added Montreal. I believe it's July 25th. We have, or July 26th.
Yeah.
And every other date, ChristieComedy.com for dates.
Okay. Catch me. This July in Providence, July 11th and 12th. Rosemont, Illinois at Zany's, August.
It's a great club. Go see him in Rosemont.
8th and 9th. Tampa, Florida, August 15th and 16th. Poughkeepsie, August 22nd and 23rd. Miami, September 11th and 12th. Bakersfield, California, October 3rd and 4th. Toronto on October 18th. Tulsa, October 24th and 25th. And Bozeman, Montana, November 22nd. Stanford, West Nyack in December, and other dates up there. YannisPappasComedy.com. Join our Patreon, patreon.com/HistoryHyenas. And we have a live show again coming up in New York City.
That is July 3rd.
July 3rd at the Comedy Cellar.
July 2nd. Hold on.
Yeah.
Is it July? I think it's July 2nd. I'm sorry. July 2nd. July 2nd. It is July 2nd at the Comedy Cellar. It's up there on our sites. Go get Tiki Wikis. It's going to sell out quick if it isn't sold out already.